Golnar, you have such a vision of the people of Tehran and Iran, given the bigger picture that we see. Are the people of Iran, are they engaged in this debate between Mr. Trump and your government?
I definitely think and feel that this is what people are talking about. This is definitely dinner table conversation fodder in Iran for sure. I mean, people are talking about this and the state of the economy here, and the two things are very much intertwined and interlinked here. You can't separate them. And I think people are concerned, but at the same time, from what I've heard so far and from the views I've listened to so far, there tends to be quite a pragmatic approach from the people towards what's going on. I thought maybe people would be much more worried than they're sounding, that they are concerned of a possible confrontation if Donald Trump does decide on May the 12th to effectively withdraw from the deal. And what's also been interesting is President Macron's statements from last night haven't seemed to have added to concerns substantially. I think people are still primarily worried more about Iran's economy going forward in the future. That's, as always, the biggest issue and the biggest concern for people here. I think that they believe that the Europeans are trying to get closer to Donald Trump in order to manage and maybe to an extent control what he's going to do in terms of the nuclear agreement. But I don't get a sense that there's a huge there's a kind of a huge amount of fear and concern. Many people are worried and anxious, but at the same time, I think they're being quite pragmatic about it because they've seen so much escalation and so much isolation and sanctions and all sorts of things throughout the past 10, 15 years. They think, I think they feel that they're resilient enough to deal with whatever comes their way.
Golnar, quickly, the way that a lot of the media are portraying this, certainly in Europe, is that, first of all, it's unclear whether President Trump hinted at some kind of new deal. I quote, he says they may be doing a much bigger maybe deal. And Iran has in the past, of course, warned of severe consequences if the U.S. withdrew from the deal. What could those be?
I think, I mean, it's very difficult for me to say for sure. But like you said, we had Zarif, the foreign minister, Javad Zarif, say again that Iran would retaliate if America withdraws completely from the deal and triggers its collapse. It's very hard to second guess what that would mean. My sense is, personally, I don't think it would mean it would lead to a confrontation. And I think one of the reasons is because Iran's situation now is very different to what it was maybe 10, 15 years ago when the sanctions were first tightened and Ahmadinejad was president. You have a pragmatic, moderate at the helm of government right now. And also Iran and Russia are very strongly allied in the region. So it could probably mean returning to a nuclear program that was more on the level of what was happening before the nuclear deal.
Golnar, what is so important here is the bathing of nostalgia that we saw at the state dinner. Charles de Gaulle, when it was Persia in 1960, and now we go to Macron at the White House. And well, forget about the nostalgia. What is the reality of Iran that Mr. Macron, Mr. Trump, and the rest of the West need to know? What's the day-to-day reality of Iran that's lost in the media translation?
That people here are just trying to live their lives, that there are moms, dads, kids, whoever, nurses, doctors, artists, musicians, every day just trying to forge their path like anywhere else in the world. And they're all, I think, united by this idea that they just want stability and they want the economy to grow. And they want relations, I think, with the rest of the world. I don't think they want isolation, but they also, they're very conscious of their history. They're very conscious of the way that the West in the past has engaged in Iran, the colonial projects that they refer to, that have been imposed on Iran in the past. And so they want relations with the West, but they don't want humiliation at the expense of that. And I think you can say that for pretty much most people here.